Aloha, this is Samana with Unconventional Insights. This is my 45th podcast. I took a little break last weekend. I was kind of at a loss of what to write about, and several of you, contacted me and gave me ideas, and here we are. So today, this is about rebuilding our foundation after this world has changed, or this world crisis. How do we rebuild within? And there are so many feelings and emotions going on now that lockdown is lifting, depending on where you're living throughout the world and the States. Many are feeling a variety of excitement and fear, anxiety, freedom, sadness, confusion. Nobody knows what to believe, who to trust, the government, media. There's just so many contradictions out there. I look at this as whenever we're posed with a challenge and adversity, what is the opportunity here? And our best case scenario is for us to stop looking outside of ourselves for validation and answers. Being a counselor for all these years, and my own personal work and journey, and my Vipassana meditation, which is always going within, is I found there is no authority outside of myself that has ever really given me the pivotal answers that I've needed at different crises, moments in my life. There are many outside of me that have given me support and validated me once I've come to decisions. And I find that with my clients that I counsel, that I don't give them advice, I just learn to ask the right questions so they see the answers. And it helps this. So if you're in a relationship or single right now, and if your relationship has been long-term or it's fairly new, either way, your significant other, they are just as disoriented as you are right now. So we need a little compassion to understand that we're in a time that's never happened before, and to really bring this tenderness to our emotional body, to this inner child, which I'll talk a lot about today. So if you're lucky enough to be working remotely, or you're back in the public, most likely your employers are giving you mixed messages too, as our government is, between staying safe and opening the economy because it's collapsing, and wanting to avoid potential lawsuits. Nobody's really standing clear. They're kind of like covering themselves right now, and it's a lot of selfing out there, and it's happening from high up in our politics to the smallest scale. So I'm inviting you to stop, take a deep breath, and really assess, are you responding on a day-to-day basis as a person you're proud of? Are you responding to your family, to your friends, to yourself? Are you caring for yourself right now? Or are you in a fear state? Are you in a threatened state? Are you too angry and you're just every man for himself? So look at all those things, because it's affecting us in a big scale, and we need to stop right now. So nobody has this crystal ball telling us our future. I have a lot of friends that are teachers, and they're like, is the school going to open in this next semester? Or because the restrictions have lifted and there's going to be this second wave, are they going to allow students to be remote? Or are they going to allow some of them to come back? Nobody knows, and it really is affecting all of us. It's affecting the parents, not knowing if they're going to be homeschooling or having their kids at home, and how do they work, and everything else. How do we pay the bills? How do we do all of this? Anyways, with my counseling recently, I've been working with people on a weekly basis to get them through this time, because what I'm finding that's happening is in their day-to-day lives, they're experiencing lots of anger and confusion and fear, and this is happening on a regular basis, and they're not, and these are skilled and quality people that have done counseling or even are counselors, and they're at a loss because they're responding in a threatened way, in a reactive way, and they're needing comfort. and validation. So our known securities and these people that have been our authority, they're failing us, and it's not working anymore because everybody is uncertain. So my teaching of self-care routines for a living, this is now more than ever, it's a time to find what soothes you by gaining your own self-dependence and your own self-reliance, and it's going to be a lot of work from the inside out. So this episode is in a sense what's needed for self-care to rebuilding our foundation after this world change, or after, as this world crisis is happening. It's not over yet. We haven't even begun to see its major effects. It's just, anyways, be it personal or globally, this impact of this great loss and this change, this extreme change, is too much to bear. So many people are having nightmares. I personally have been having nightmares also, but it's interesting that I'm finding this a pattern with people I'm counseling. And again, the subconscious works where we work out through the night when we're asleep on that subconscious level what we can't work out in the day. So here we are, we're in this day time that is barely comprehensible at times. We're at night tuning into these nightmares. If you're remembering it or not, let's look at this. So here we are in our waking state. And I want to explain to you again about how mechanisms work, how coping mechanisms work. So when there is a trauma or something that's beyond our ability to comprehend, or we're not emotionally ready for it, we don't have the inner tools or the inner stability to accept the change or the loss in our life, the brain will come in and it will create, either it will block it out as if it never happened, so it erases it, or it will rewrite it in a way that it can handle it, which could totally be false and a lie. Now, I see this phenomenal correspondence with our political in the U.S. right now, what's happening with the deception and the lies happening in the media and in politics and in all of this going back and forth, where one thing is said, it's like having that dysfunctional uncle that basically rages at you and scares you and doesn't make you feel safe, and then brings ice cream for everybody so we all forget it and, oh, we love this ice cream. I'm serious. This is important to see this, because looking at our personal lives, how can we handle this? How can we address this? If we look at our personal lives and begin looking to see where our own wounds from our childhood, from our past, are happening. Everyone I'm counseling right now is working with childhood wounds. I personally just went through a round myself of going through more and more, which I've done inner child work for so many years, and I find it most valuable. Now, in my 20s, it used to piss me off, because little did I know it was a foreshadow of my future, my early 20s, that I would hear about this working with the inner child, and it was so foofy and woo-woo and esoteric that I would get angry. I literally would get angry. Now, mind you, my issue was anger, so that was appropriate. But I would say, what do they really mean? I need something practical. And then through my own discovery, I have learned what that literal working with the inner child means. And it is actually, as I've said this before, but let's look at this again. You wake up in the morning, you go to the bathroom, brush your teeth, do whatever, make your coffee, your tea, and then you check in with yourself. And you can do this working with inner child, where you do that and you have a couple of feeling words. So it's like, okay, I'm going to check in. I'm going to question and see, okay, well, I'm feeling a little excitement because the sun's out, and I'm feeling a little uncertain about what I'm doing today, and maybe there's a little underlying anxiety. And then I look to see if I were to scan what is the age of the child? So if there was something negative or something that was more pressing, such as the anxiety or sadness or fear or frustration or any of those, self-loathing, then I would tell you 100% that you're dealing with some past stuff, because it's usually pretty great. And when you rate on your scale of 1 to 10 how stressed you are, and when you get into those 5s and higher, then it's definitely inner child work that needs to be addressed. So then look and see, what age do you feel that is coming up that needs to be addressed within you? And sometimes it could be young, it could be that 3 or 5-year-old, it could be a lot of wounds happen right around adolescence or just before adolescence, and that's because the body's changing, the hormones are changing. The people in your life respond to you differently as adolescence happens, because all of the chemical impulses are changing within you. Your needs are changing, your smells are changing, everything's happening. So sometimes it's that 11-year-old, that 12-year-old, that 14-year-old, that 16-year-old. If you're older, it could be in your 30s, in your 20s, but different ages come up. But when you acknowledge that and see that part of yourself, and you could look back at old pictures during that time if you need a clearer image to see what is actually how you look, so that you could really visualize this, and then see that you are responsible for babysitting that part of yourself for the day, for the week, for the month, however long that it's up. But if I know that I woke up this morning and there's anxiety and I'm about a 4 or a 5 on my stress scale, and I see, that was when I was in my early 20s that I was uncertain about my direction in life. And I remember how I didn't really have someone that I can turn to. I had my parents, but there wasn't anyone that I could talk to on a regular basis to help me see my self-worth, help me see what makes me valuable. So here I am now as this mature, conscious person that I've grown to be with life skills. And I am embracing and seeing that young 20-year-old in me. And I am going to say soothing words to her that I know will help to ease that emotional body. So our inner child is representative of our emotional state. So if we're highly reactive in our emotional state, or if we're shut down in our emotional state, or if we rage, or we're afraid, or we don't really speak up, all of those are symbolic of knowing that we have issues coming up with wounds from our past, from our inner child, that need to be healed. So now we're looking for this authority, and in a sense this is called reparenting, because we become that ultimate authority. Even if we had great parents, our parents don't always have time or the ability to tune into us to speak or treat us the way that we need. Maybe we have a higher sensitivity than they do, or maybe there are certain needs that we were afraid to ask because maybe they were aggressive or loud or busy and we didn't want to bother them. But now we could become that ultimate mother and father that is attending to that little 5-year-old, that little 11-year-old, that little 20-something-year-old, or whatever comes up. Some of you, I've counseled people in their 60s that when they got divorced in their late 30s or early 40s, they need to actually go to that part of themselves because they've already done their earlier childhood work, but yet here was this block of time. If we look at it as if we had this life force, we had one of our blood sources where blood is coursing through our veins and circulation and life and vitality. And literally when there's a trauma, it's as if something is stopping that ability for that blood, for that circulation, that oxygen to pass through. And it's this dark, it's this absence of this power, of this personal energy, of this consciousness is stopped. And if you were feeling abandoned and totally lost during that time, then that is who is probably showing up today. That you need to say, wait a minute, I'm feeling this again. I'm not feeling like I'm showing up for work the way I should have. And what's happening? So again, those questions are, what are those few feeling words? Just keep it simple and be honest. And it could be complex and it could be totally contradictory. It could be happy and sad at the same time, but be honest with it and start to really dig for the truth. And then you're going to ask yourself, again, what is the stress level 0 to 10? Every morning ask that, and then check in and see, what is the age of that person that came up? Now, if you're not stressed and it's a great day, there may not be any inner child work. This isn't all the time. And there are times when you're doing your inner child work that I've worked with clients for weeks, that out of nowhere they have this great day and they're happy and they had this wonderful date or this creative day of connecting and writing and playing and dancing. And again, a healthy inner child is our sexuality in its healthiest form, in its vibrant, vital form. It's also, so there's no shame around our sexuality when we're healthy and our inner child is clear and attended to. It's our creative nature. It's our ability to believe that we have something of value to say. It's our ability to express ourselves from our heart. So it's our emotional body, and we want that healthy child. That healthy child is so fascinated and curious with everything new. That healthy child is able to adapt to sudden changes because they're not coming from their mind, because they don't stay stuck, because they see, what is the opportunity here? How could I make this a game? How could this be fun? How can I see this a different way? That's your curiosity. That is your inspiration to be different. So, back to looking at this inner child. So, now me personally, when it gets challenging and my anxiety is up, what's happening to me is, and I'll share this, my clients are going through a similar thing, but I'll share my own because I have permission, it's me, and is that I'm asking myself, like, how can I help? How can I stop these deaths that are going on everywhere? How am I of most valuable to save people and to help rebuild their foundations? So, my gift being childhood healing, inner child wounds, is in doing these podcasts and doing counseling. Again, you can reach me 808-283-7587, text or call and schedule an appointment. I am now doing $75 an hour, and if you're not working, we could do a sliding scale. I do recommend doing this weekly for a while till you get into a flow, till you get into a stability and a lot of insight happens. And I also guarantee that my clients are showing up on their Zoom or their FaceTime with so much distress and so much emotions and various things, and they do their work. I give them homework every week, and by the end of the call, they're smiling, they're laughing. I see that inner child. I see that healthy inner child is being seen, is being validated, and that is my job, is I'm here to validate you during this time of uncertainty. And to have that one person you can trust, and I have no ulterior motive. Yes, this is my job, but this is my heart. This is my life path also. So I am there for you. And I also, when I work with clients, I talk to them about tech support, TEXT support, which means throughout the week, if there's like one thing that happens or something and you have a couple sentences you want to text, when I have the time, I will respond back, like to get you back on track. And then if you're finding that it's several texts exchanging between the two of us, then we'll just schedule an emergency session for you. And I try to be available if it's within my ability and my time frame. So another way to reach me is email is Samana, SAMANA at SPALUNA.com, so you can email me. And I'm going to constantly ask that you give me ideas on what you want to hear about, because I do tend to, my specialties are inner child, self-care, and relationship, which is all one and the same. But now really looking at this rebuilding our foundation, where we're taking these emotions that are uncontrollable and taking over us because we don't have anyone giving us something concrete and consistent. Now, that inner child needs consistency. They need consistency in love, in the rules, in what we're supposed to do. Look at our government. We're not getting any of that. We're getting, in a day, we're getting total opposition of what's being said, and no one's holding to it. So our only solution is to take back that inner, reclaim our own inner knowingness. And often, if you're in a place that you're not trusting yourself, that you don't know how to trust your instincts, or when something happens in front of you, that you pause before you respond because you want your partner to give their feedback, or your parent, or your best friend, then that is still looking outside of yourself for validation and answers. And you need to come from within. What I'm saying to you is, people in our lives of support are there to validate and confirm the choices we make. Yet we need to come up with those choices ourselves. We need to come to that from a deep place inside, a deep knowingness. And if there is too many wounds, then we need to do some work so that we start to trust that inner child. Many times when I have people start working with that inner child, all of them can see the age, see the child right away. And if it takes a while before the child will communicate, I know this is using our imagination, but it really works, to communicate correctly, or to trust you, or you forget to do it, or I was so busy with work this week or with my kids that I wasn't able to tune in, and I totally forgot I was doing that exercise. Because I say, pretend that the social worker dropped this child off. You got the whole file, you understood the whole history of all the wounds and the sadness and the deficiencies this child went through, and you are now responsible for caring for them. For, do they get enough sleep? Are they safe? What's the environment you're putting them in? Are they eating too much sugar? Are they eating healthy? Are they getting love? Are you listening to them? Are you playing with them? All those things need to happen. Okay, so bringing these circumstances to the present moment, we could understand and heal what we couldn't see as children. Our current maturity and life skills have given us more stability inside to be able to dig deeper and reveal our secret monsters. I call them monsters, those traumas and those pains from the past, once and for all, by bringing awareness and light to our dark, shadowy past. We gain the insights from the teachings of our pain. When we can look, it's as if you're in a nightmare and you're lucid enough to wake yourself up. I do this all the time. And I look to see what is being shown to me by my unconscious, by my subconscious. When I can remember, and I look to see, because emotionally there's usually fear and it's overwhelming in the dream. But when I wake up and I look to see what are the symbols being shown to me, what is this really about? then it gives me insight, it gives me teaching, meaning I drop the emotions. I'm not focusing on what it's making me feel. I'm looking at what is being presented to me and what can I learn from it. And this is how we deal with inner child work. This is how we deal with trauma, with pain. This is how we deal with politics right now, with the information and the contradictions on the virus, is we listen to these and we notice the feeling, but we take a deep breath and we continue reading or we continue listening and we ask, what is the message here? What is the teaching here? Does this feel true to me? And keep checking in. When we commit to holding our inner child as our top priority over our partners, our relatives, our friends, our own children, and all of our responsibilities, when that becomes our way of doing this, let's try this for the next month or so and see, can you tune into your inner child every day and see what's happening, see what attention they need, see what joy and creativity they can bring to you. When we begin to do this, we see a new unshakable foundation to rebuild. If we see the years of our lives on a linear timeline, that we can look to the left and see all of the moments from birth up to this point, and we could see, if it was on a line, there are areas that are blackened, that are blackouts. And those blackouts, as I mentioned before, are literally what our mind has done. It is denied it or rewritten it because it was too painful. What if we take baby steps of courage to look at those parts of our past, that we can clear that vein, that blood flow and oxygen, as if we have this vital functioning heart and cardiovascular system as it is in our body, it is in our emotional body too. And we lighten that all up. We go back and look at each step and bring it to our present state so that we then, what are the symptoms we will feel? We will feel a sense of reclaiming those blackouts. So there's no more fogginess. There's no more energy drain. There's no more physical illness and decay due to our old pain and fear of looking at this as just we like blanket it as a mass of pain. I've had clients talk about when they were afraid as children, they'd hide under their beds, under their sheets to keep the monsters away. When we're afraid, we hide. It is our nature. We are in a time of crisis where a lot of us are hiding. And ask yourself, how are you hiding? Are you hiding by shutting down? Are you hiding by not having hard conversations? Are you hiding by not doing your inner work? Are you hiding by drinking too much, by eating too much, by doing whatever mechanisms it takes to numb you from just being present? And I want you to be courageous and to, as we stop the dream, look that demon in the eyes, stand in your authority, the all-knowing, the all-powerful, the all-light, and see that light. Shine that flashlight on every dark corner from your past, every painful memory. So, the alternative is living in a world where we see how small and how powerless whoever and whatever made us believe this to be true when we were young. That we were insignificant, we were invisible. How many times have we tried to speak or scream and no one would hear us or acknowledge us or care? And now we can become that healthy authority where we are reparenting ourselves the way we always wished for, and we can time travel. We can be the superheroes of our own lives and we become this incredible, joyous, whole person that, yes, we feel sadness, yes, we feel fear, yes, we feel anger, but it is appropriate for the moment. It doesn't take us down, it doesn't take us over. When we hear the cries of our inner child, we are able to put our arms around us daily and say those words, soothing words. So find what your inner child wants to hear from your partner, from your parent, from your priest, from your best friend. What are those phrases your inner child wants to hear? Is it something like, "You're the most important person in my life. I will never leave you. We will be okay and handle whatever comes together"? Find your phrase of support, and each day write that and read that and be there for that unity. And if you're finding that you're in a place where this is, I'm getting back into this scenario of politics, of what we're rebuilding around, where every day the death rate is rising and the cases are getting higher and higher, and I'm finding that people are ignoring this. They're getting numb to it. Their mechanisms are engaged stronger than their open hearts and their clear minds. And this saddens me. And this is what I'm afraid of right now, what's happening politically and in the virus. It's one and the same. If you are that person that you care more about, I just want to forget about it and get back to normal. I want to go to my favorite restaurant. I want to go to a bar and just get drunk. I want to see my friends and have fun, and hell with social distancing, hell with masks and all of that. Understand on the deepest level that this is your wounds. This is your mechanism of saying, I can't handle what's happening. I just want to move on and pretend it never happened. It is happening, and we need to be accountable. We need to start being our inner authority and the outer authority. We are responsible. This is a time to commit to embracing the truth and doing whatever it takes to heal, to be whole, and to help this planet. Every stranger you see on the street is a valuable life that deserves health, safety, to have a home, to have food, to be cared for as part of this human family. Let us lead with our hearts collectively. Let us be gentle to ourselves and others. Commit to what is true, what is right for everyone, the collective. We need all of us stronger than ever before. Take the filter off your skewed vision while you peer from your mask that keeps us and others safe. Do what is right. Protect the weak and ignorant. Educate the able, and strengthen the hearts of many. It's time to do your work on the outside. That means wear your mask, wash your hands, keep your physical distance. Yes, we have to open the world, the economy, so it doesn't collapse. But it doesn't mean just because authorities are backing out, are failing us, that our inner authority can't tell us that we are supposed to do what's right, that we will continue in our life, but we will keep our distance, wear our mask. We will stay informed to what is true or false, and really question this. Don't read an article or hear something and believe it to be true. Bring it deep in your body and feel it. Does it tighten in your gut? Does it feel like truth to you? And inside, heal your past traumas, the places you keep falling back to, or your inability to move forward into a life that you want. Learn to trust yourself and your own instincts and the ability to process the truth without the influence of others. We have others, if you're blessed, to validate the truth that you have come to on your own. They are not there to give you the truth. Do you understand the difference? What is your truth? Discover that and do your work. Check in with your inner child, and blessings to you. Aloha, and thank you for your time. Stay safe, stay wise, stay mindful.